Morning, Skyline. So it was important for me to actually to go ahead and do this video because usually around Black History Month you like to get or you see that you get a lot of things about the transatlantic slave trade, right? Because it is part of history. It's part of history and it's part of our history. And to deny it or to pretend like it didn't exist does a lot of injustice. It not only diminishes the people who went through hell to be able to get here, to be able to survive, who were able to create a better future, like literally, who literally built the entire American like economy and system and structure and healthcare and military and everything that America wants to boast about and feel like it's worth something. Black and brown bodies did that. So, but we continue to disenfranchise them, continue to imprison them, and continue to use their labor as slave labor. So there's that. Not only to mention that globally, trafficking happens in a uncomparable amount to black and brown bodies before. But anyway, so overall my point is, if you ignore those issues, if you ignore that thing which is history, then you it's a huge disservice. It is part of what makes the system racist, that we want to just forget about and ignore the accomplishments of black and brown people, even through like literally, again, the creation of a nation, of a powerful nation. So whatever. But there's a lot of things about that, like easily I could go on about that in of itself for a very long time. My actual main point is that, so for me and my work, I do believe that liberation comes from mind, body, and spirit. To truly be free, to awaken that freedom, to strive for that freedom, to go after that freedom, to spread it to other peoples, to spread it to our past, to spread it to our future, to go through generations. I believe that comes through liberation of the mind, body, and spirit. So, though there are lots of different avenues and ways to accomplish that, to feel that, to bring that into fruition, and to give that purpose, one of those things is through sexual liberation, right? So, when I do sex work, it is for the intent and purpose and forward movement of pleasure, because I think joy and pleasure is also part of what creates and embodies and moves freedom. But it is also, oh goodness, sorry, my throat was fine a little while ago, but so yes, sexual liberation through pleasure, sexual liberation through power, sexual liberation through body autonomy and movement and consent and values and boundaries, and what is the greater mental pursuit of understanding these things on a deep level. So that's part of why sex work is part of my liberation, is part of my spirituality, is part of my mindset and how I progress through things. There you go. I try to move all of my intentions. I have so many interests, so many ambitions, so many things that I want to accomplish, and I know for me it needs to move through a spiritual way. And in that spiritual way, includes through a sexually liberated way. That's just that. The reason why all this connects, I was, doing some scrolling, and like I said, oftentimes you're reminded of a lot of history that is traumatic and hard for Black people to revisit, because like there's so much pain wrapped into like our ancestral heritage because of these things. So, like, when you are doing ancestral work, a lot of times it is breaking through and moving forward so much pain. It is hard work. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of concentration. It takes a lot of evolution. It takes a lot of decolonizing. Because through those things, like, you do have to focus on, like, love and liberation. But also, like, there's a lot of anger there. There's a lot of, like, a dishonesty there. There's a lot of betrayal there. There's a lot of hardship there. So you absolutely have to go through it. But there's also a lot of assault. There is a lot of sexual assault wrapped up in going through ancestral trauma. And so, in this way, a lot of times I have to be very careful when it comes to going through some of these things. It is hard. It can break you. It can be really mentally like intensive, and with that, it's a slow process. It's a slow step, like one by one, figuring it out, like and healing from it. Understanding what these principles are and what these principles mean, and my own personal history in my life currently. Like, I have to take all of those things into consideration, weigh them, balance them, and move forward. I have before, I haven't recently, though I still want to go back, but you know how these things work. As far as accessibility and finances and things and such. But my point. Therapy, if you can find a decolonized therapist who understands these things, who isn't going to make you feel like your anger is invalid or that racism isn't a huge factor. If you can find these people who are here for accountability but also acceptance, like, they definitely do help you, counselors, therapists, social workers, to move forward, and to be able to create and understand coping mechanisms that better evolve your healing process. These things are also available for books. There are also people doing great work online. There are also great programs that are here for helping people, like, get through the financial struggle of all of these things. There are resources out there available for you. There's no just one avenue, and no one avenue is going to get you towards the place that you want to be, in my opinion. You have to use a combination of many different modalities, in my opinion, to come to a better sense of self and a better sense of healing and prosperity. But because these are my experiences in life, it allows me to do some of that healing ancestral work a little bit better, because I can use all of these things that I've learned, right, throughout the course of my life, to initiate and engage with each situation, and bring healing to those people in the past, and therefore bring healing to the generations of our future. Like, I won't get too off in the weeds. But overall, that's kind of my point. Like, be careful with yourself, be kind to yourself, be loving with yourself, be gentle with yourself, because you are going through a lot. You are absolutely going through a lot. And just because you don't feel like you're as productive this day or whatever, like, that literally does not matter. Whose scope are we aiming for, Like, take care of you. Make sure that you have food. Make sure that you have shelter, and slowly gravitate like the joys that you can, because this world is fucked up and there are a lot of fucked up people in it who won't admit that it's fucked up, who are making it even more fucked up. So like sometimes my main point is, sometimes even though you want to be here, you want to engage and you want to do that work, don't forget that it's still trauma, that it's still hard, and be patient with yourself, be loving and kind and considerate and honest, and take it one step at a time. Take it one step at a time, and don't feel like your whole life has to be enraptured inside of this one thing, because the reason why you can do the work is because you can move towards a place of joy. And without joy, we are nothing. That's what they tried to take away. They tried to take away every bit of your joy, of your autonomy, of your love, of your mutual respect, of your community, of your like togetherness. That's what they tried to take away. So the more you fight for those things, the more you want those things, the more you strive for those things, the more you aim for those things, the honestly, the better we all are. The better we are for each other, the better we are together. So that's my spiel today. It took me forever to figure out which platform I was going to put this on, but I hope everyone who wants it, everyone who needs it, everyone who's looking for it gets it.